Everybody, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, the republic
Republic, which stands one
One
nation,
nation,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Rory, did we receive any public comment?
We did not.
Okay. Is there anybody here from the public that would like to speak?
Oh, there he is.
Who?
Alex the Great.
Oh, Danka. The other Danka.
Oh, the
Can I have
baby.
approval- Can I have approval for the minutes from the January 19th, 2020 regular meeting, please?
So
So
moved.
moved, Madam Chair.
Motion by Bob Finley, second by Pat Lombardi. All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, discussion? Discussion, all in favor, aye. Motion passes 7-0.
Abstain.
March, oh, Chris Bowen abstains. Sorry, Chris Bowen.
Hi, Chris.
Marcia, just to let you know, I have typed up all my selectmen notes for you. Okay. First selectmen's reports, rather long, so, sorry. No, we all know we had the storm, the snowstorm Sunday into Monday. I just want to thank the volunteers and town employees for all their help and dedication to the town. From the fire department on standby by the firehouses from 10 a.m. Monday morning till Tuesday morning, escorting ambulance to the hospital, actually having to plow them their way, actually having to plow the ambulance to get them to the hospital because the snow was coming down so fast. To ensure our residents arrive safely, to covering our surrounding towns for mutual aid. Our town employees started to plow from 2 a.m. Monday morning till late Tuesday morning, and our police department keeping roads clear for our plow trucks and our residents safe. Our custodians, thank you to our custodians and our Board of Ed members for being out so late and shoveling the sidewalks, only to have to come in this morning to them being blown over again with more snow. To our Seymour ambulance staff and volunteers, thank you for taking care of our residents and attending to their needs. Just a thank you to everybody for all their hard work and dedication. You know, they left their families and their homes to make sure that we were able to get out of ours. Public Works will be working on cleaning up the downtown area as well as town roads later this week in preparation for the next nor'easter that will be coming in Sunday to Monday. So they say. We're working with the police department on their private duty collections. As you know, I'm sure you read it in the paper, that they have some outstanding collections from their private duty jobs that they're working on. Rory and I will be sitting down with them and seeing what their process for collection is and putting one into place if they don't have one. Met with Dave Morgan from Team to discuss how we can help them, Team, to do more with them and help our residents out more. I met with Mike Kearney to discuss a plan that he and the Seymour Historical Society are working on to add the Seymour residents' name to the Civil War monument up at French Park. All our wars that are up there, the plaques have Seymour residents' names except for the Civil War monument. So there's a big statue. I believe he said Jakimowski is going to give them a flagpole or help them with a flagpole so that it's lit at nighttime with the Civil War monument, dig out the wrought iron area to make it nice to pay homage to those residents that fought in the Civil War. I met with Tony Cassidy from the Seymour Oxford Food Bank to discuss the center's growth. They are growing by leaps and bounds due to the needs of residents in our area. So it's good that they're growing, but it's sad that they're growing because more residents need their help. In regards to the ordinance, we are waiting on the fire commissioners to get back to the ordinance committee in regards to a list of names for tax abatements that we must give to Dana to make sure that they are able to receive their tax abatement, and then we'll process a tax abatement for them. We're also waiting for the criteria for the 65 years of age and 25 years of service Rory and the ordinance committee worked on that. We sent it back to them to tighten it up and send it back to us, and we have not received anything yet. Hopefully we'll receive something for our second meeting in February. As you know, the budget season and is in place, and the workshops are taking place Monday and Wednesday of each week up until the first week of March. And that the first Monday in March is when I will be presenting the town's budget. The police department went last night, and Public Works is going tomorrow night. The grant list has been signed. We saw an 8% increase on the residential side. The finance department and finance board are doing a deeper research. Approximately 1/3 went up, 1/3 went down, and 1/3 stayed the same. In regards to the assessment, they're saying that, the smaller houses went up because that's what people want, and the bigger houses, they went down. So we'll see where we come up with that. As you know, the assessment is done every 5 years, and it's required by the state of Connecticut. It's not something the town says, oh, we're going to do an assessment every 5 years. We asked, because this was a pandemic in 2020, that we able to postpone this abatement, this assessment. And Hartford says, no, you cannot postpone the assessment. You must go forward with this assessment. Every town had to do an assessment. It's not something we made up at all. I wish we were able to postpone it, but we were not. We will be posting to our website and Facebook page the steps for residents who want to file an appeal on their tax assessment. We have Tara Ahern and our assessor, Joe Kuzik, writing up step by step on what they need to do, any documents they're going to need, bring with them, any pictures they need to take, any deadlines they need to make. We're going to have that step by step posted so all our residents can see it and they can follow it and file their appeals if they want to. Garbage is 1 day behind due to the storm. So those whose garbage was supposed to be picked up on Monday was supposed to be picked up today. Some of our residents did not get plowed out in time. Some of their garbage cans may have been buried. We did speak to Winter Brothers. They will be around again tomorrow, making some more, as well as doing Tuesday's pickups tomorrow, which is Wednesday. Friday's delivery will be Saturday. Just make sure your garbages are put out the night before. We did have residents who, normally bring out their trash at 10 a.m. in the morning. Your trash pickup can start anywhere from 6 a.m. in the morning to 11 o'clock p.m. It's easier just to put it out at nighttime, the day before. I met with Tom Hyde from the Naugatuck Regional Development Corp. They are brand new, and their goal is to be a regional economic development entity. Just another thing for us to think of when we're ready to look at economic development director to come in. Just another thing to look at. As you know, taxes were due on January 31st. Residents, because it landed on a Sunday, they were able to pay their taxes on February 1, but because town hall was closed on February 1, a lot of the residents weren't able to come in and pay. We did do a code red letting them know that they were going to be closed. On our website, there are ways that you could pay your taxes. You can mail them in as long as it's postmarked by January 31st. You won't get a late fee or have the interest rate. You can pay them online by credit card, ATM card, or check. You can pay them by phone, by check, by ATM card, but there is a fee. We cannot, it's a state law, we cannot write off the interest. The residents receive the bill, and I hate it because we were closed. They could have if they're able to come to town hall, they could have went over to the post office, which was open, and had them stamp it on the 31st and put it in the mailbox, and we would have got it. As long as it's stamped, marked before the date it is due, they will not be charged interest. Unfortunately, we cannot waive interest because it's a state requirement. The state of Connecticut sets that, not us. It's a requirement. What else was I going to say about that? And also, I had one resident say, well, you guys closed at 12. Well, yes, we've only been open to 12 o'clock on Fridays for the past 5 or 6 years. Before that, we were not open on Fridays at all. We're only open Monday through Thursday. So Friday's a half a day, and you can always call it in, and there's a $3 charge to use your credit card or your debit card, or to pay by phone. I think it's $1 charge for your checkbook, or 50 cents to mail it in. So that's, like I said, there was a lot for my Selectwoman's report. Just in case anybody had, does anybody have any questions on my Selectwoman's report? No? Okay. Item number 6 is discussion with town engineer regarding proposed 2020 road work. Is Brian Nesteriak on?
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Brian.
Is my sound okay? I've had issues in the past.
No, you're good.
Hear me okay?
We can hear you.
All right, great. Good evening. Thanks for having me. Just going to go through our latest list of what we're planning on tackling this year. Keep in mind that this is a fluid list and it's subject to change. And certainly welcome any feedback that you or anybody else has. But I'll throw up what we're planning on doing, and also it'll have the prices. Am I able to share, Rory? Okay.
Should be able to.
You should be.
Can you guys see this? You see the spreadsheet that says 2021 anticipated roadway rehabilitation?
Yep.
Give me a thumbs up. Yeah, okay. So most of these are on the original list. There has been some adjustments based on some conversations with DPW and some of the latest complaints that we've gotten over the past couple of years.
Brian,
I'm sorry?
the spreadsheet is not up. We see a Google Maps.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
see a
it's a
Google
map.
map.
How about now?
Yes.
There we go.
All
Much
right.
more better.
Sorry about that. Seymour Ave, it's a housing development, gotten a lot of complaints on that over the years. I doubt it's been done since it was built in the 50s. It is sorely needed. So that's always been on there, and it was one of the next ones that we were going to do. So that is going to be a pretty large reclamation. We need a little bit of drainage. We're not going to go crazy. We need curbing, paving, so on and so forth. Shelton and Pershing over behind the old school near George Street. So these two kind of almost complete that entire neighborhood. We've done over the past Pershing, Prospect, Martha. This kind of takes care of those little areas. Shelton's a real, we got to decide, or I have to decide, if you tell me I have to decide, whether we want to spend the money on the sidewalks over there as well. Most of the sidewalks need a lot of work. It is a very wide road. They use it for parking, but it needs a good amount of work, and it's well needed. Pershing is just a spur off of Shelton. That's not quite as of a project, but since we should do Shelton, we should just connect that. Most of Pershing was done. Just for some reason they stopped about 2/3 of the way down. So this will just finish that up. Eleanor over by Chatfield Park, that kind of buttons up that whole neighborhood. We've got pretty much, well, not all of it, but we did Bunting, we did all the roads above Bunting. This is a big cut through that people use to get from the Bunting area or the Skokerad area down to 67. So it's a really good one that needs to be done. It does need a full reconstruction. It needs a little bit of drainage, but not too much. Curbing, we'll need to do some aprons and so on and so forth. Highland, it's been on the list. Another one that just needs to reclaim, repave, has had some complaints in the past. Buckingham's been on the road for a while. That's going to be more spot improvements and some drainage improvements. I talked to DPW among some of the complaints we've gotten over the years. But there's some ice problems during the winter that we're going to try to fix as part of this, where obviously the water just flows down the road and ice is up. So DPW's got to go up there a lot to salt it. So we're trying to tackle that at the same time, on top of the fact that the road's very old and it needs some work. Benham, Spruce Brook, Great Meadow, top of the hill, had a lot of complaints over the years on that. It's going to be a mixture of a resurfacing, a mill and repave, and then maybe some heavy patching to take care of some of the bad areas. Those all probably haven't been done since the 60s or 70s. They have been seal coated or chip sealed, which really doesn't give any kind of long-term help. But either way, I think with some nominal cost, we can get that whole area cleaned up. Elm Street was on the list a long time ago, and actually Nathan Young got started on that one. It's got some sidewalks. We probably should fix those. Half of that, I got 200,000 here. Half of that is just sidewalks alone. So that's it does need a little bit of drainage as well. And then Moss and Mountain, Elm, Moss, and Mountain are all cut throughs or high traffic areas and are in pretty bad shape. Mountain Road is just one section down on the north end near the Starbucks. And that pretty much rounds out the work that we've done on that road. We've pretty much taken care of all the other bad areas. And then the last thing I was going to propose, if there was no objections, was to spend some money on some of the sidewalk that need to be done. I could spend 10 or 20 million on those sidewalks across town, but it might be good just to start hitting some of the bad areas, maybe connect some of the gaps that occur in town. We are getting a few complaints about them, but I leave it up to you to whether or not we should probably start targeting that area. What I have planned is 1.9 million or thereabouts. This is on my estimates. I'm usually high on my estimates, so hopefully it doesn't come in this high. I'm figuring about 10-12% for police at this point. They do end up becoming a very significant cost by the time we're finished with all this. So I'm budgeting about 12% for the police. I got a 10% contingency in there just in case anything happens. Again, I'm usually high, but that brings us into about 2 million this year, 2.3 million. We have about 3.5 million. We'd have to talk to the department, talk to the finance department to know exactly how much we have, but we've spent about 1.5 million between Silvermine and everything else from what I know of. So we'll still have around $1 million, give or take, to do more roads this year, or maybe that can push into the following year and tackle some more. So with that, I know that was a lot of information, but feel free. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Brian, this is Bob Finley. Just a quick one. I'm assuming from the overall road report, are these all grade C's and D's, or like from the grading that you had, most of these roads, I'm assuming?
Most of these are C's and D's. There might be, let's see. I think I have it in here.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, you had them hidden. Yep.
Oh, there.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
These are all C's and D's.
Awesome. Okay. Very good. That's it. Yeah, I just want to make sure. I know that you've done so much, review of that bigger sheet. So I was just wondering if they tied back to that. That's all.
They do.
Chris Bowen, you had your hand up.
Yeah. First question I have is, and first off, excellent presentation. I'm very happy to see that this is being addressed. Is this in order of priority? In other words, is Seymour Avenue the top priority on this list, followed by everything below
it? Somewhat, but not really. My opinion is we can get all this done this year. So I didn't really spend a lot of time seeing which ones would be done first.
Okay.
But what we will do, it's kind of three different projects. We're gonna do the reclamation and repaves in one mobilization. Then we'll do the mill and repaves in another mobilization, and then we'll do the heavy patching either with the mill and repaves or on a separate mobilization. So it depends on the availability of the contractor on which ones we hit first. And then I'll usually sit down with them and we actually take a map of the town and decide what the most cost efficient way is to move this machinery around.
Okay.
So it also depends, is the reclaimer available before the milling machine? It's very fluid. So to answer your question, probably not, but I feel as though we can get them all done this year anyway.
Okay, and remind me about the grades, because I remember looking at this when the first report came out. This is based largely on not just road quality, but usage, correct? So in other words, Mountain Road would be a higher grade because it's well traversed.
The grades, no, the grades were really set up just for the condition of the road. But we've tackled roads that may have been considered B or C over D and F merely because they have been used a lot more. Mountain Road at this point is considered a B, but there's a section that's C/D, which is the lower portion of the northern portion of the road. So it's kind of hard, especially on these 2-mile roads, to throw one grade at it. Holbrook, I think, is still considered a C, although I would say it's a D now. But because there were some areas that weren't terrible, but there's other areas that are really terrible. So it's just hard to, I don't want people to put too much weight into the grades. We use the grades and the usage to try to prioritize what needs to be done.
Okay. Reason I'm kind of leading to this is because there's 2 roads in particular that, because of circumstances, really, I think need to be prioritized. The number one priority really should be Seymour Avenue. That road is in such horrible condition that patches of the pavement are actually actively coming up off the road, and the water builds up right before it turns onto moss, which is causing even more trouble. And that is it's a real issue for the residents there. And the road is just, it's a walking pothole, really. Just the whole road needs heavy work, and I think that needs to be prioritized. I would also advocate for prioritizing Buckingham, because that spot at the top of the hill where you start going down towards Route 34 is very steep, and at the top of the hill it's very bumpy, to the point where I'm worried that somebody might be coming along too fast and end up in the woods at the top of that hill that lead to the old McConney farm. So I know everybody's got their priorities that they feel is most important. Those 2 roads in particular are extremely dangerous in their current state. And I can tell you the residents of Seymour Avenue in particular really need that work to be done as soon as humanly possible. So I apologize for kind of getting on my soapbox there, but I feel I have to do that for those roads in particular.
Well, to reinforce what you just said, there is a reason Seymour Avenue's at the top of the list.
Okay. That answers my concern.
We can hold off on taking any action on this list, and we can all take a look at it and come back with comments and vote on it for the second meeting in February and have.
We're going to put this on the agenda in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Okay.
It gives us all time to look at it, drive by the roads, give our thoughts and opinions, and present
I'm
it.
already ready.
Huh?
I've already got. I'm going to request an image share during that meeting, just because I've got some presentations ready.
I think Mrs. Danka had her.
Yeah,
I'm sorry if I missed you saying it when you were discussing the sidewalks, but that's throughout town, or where are you determining where that needs to be repaired?
I have a running list of, of gaps, of areas that need repair and areas that need replacement. And I'll be happy to share that list with you. $100,000 doesn't go a whole long way. It was more just to discuss with you whether you want me to spend some of this bond money on tackling the sidewalks. There's plenty to do.
I presume they're main roads. I guess that's,
Actually, there's two gaps in general that I'd like to connect, and those are on Skokorak. And then we haven't really focused on where the repairs are, but Maple Street needs some, Washington needs some. They are the main roads. We were going to start with the high use sidewalks, and then we can work out to the less used ones.
okay. I only bring it up because I know that there's some on Pearl Street. Not because I live there, because mine's fine, but I just want to be careful because I know that the residents have a portion that they're typically required to pay. And I just want to be careful about who, where we're making these repairs, and just in fairness to everybody. I don't know your feelings on that. Anyone we can help, I'm in support of. Because it's not always the resident, it's not necessarily the resident's fault that the sidewalks are degrading. I just want to be careful that there's nobody feeling like their cries for help have not been heard, and we're doing others.
I think the ordinance basically says if we replace or fix the sidewalk in front of your house, the town has the authority to backbill the entire bill to that owner. In the 4 years I've been here, it's never happened, that as far as I know, and I don't think it's probably a good idea to start that. So whatever work, unless I'm told otherwise, that would be done, I don't think would ever end up back at the homeowners. But Pearl Street, like I said, like you were saying, Pearl Street needs a lot of work, and it's certainly on our list. There's also a couple gaps in there that we can fix. So
Yeah, again, I'm only mentioning it because I know of people who live on the street because I'm here, who have complained over the years of crumbling. And again, my concern is just more where we're actually doing the repairs, and I don't want anyone to feel like we're not hearing their cries as well, and doing any favoritism for other residents. That's all.
I'd be happy to prioritize based on the recommendations of this board. Or if you leave it up to me, I'll do my best to mitigate the concerns that come through.
Go ahead, Pat.
So Brian, how you doing?
Good, Pat. How you doing?
Good. I heard you mention Maple Street, and so my question to you would be, the town would be doing any connect gaps or repairs to sidewalks on a state road?
Yes. So the state does not take responsibility for any sidewalks on their roads unless they're on the bridges. So it falls on the town's responsibility. And
Well, no, I'm glad you answered that question, because I live on Derby Avenue. It's a state road, Upper Derby Avenue, as opposed to Lower Derby Avenue, where Daddy-O's and storage units.
Thank you, Rob.
So my concern is, in shoveling today, I have 24 running feet of sidewalk, and I have some humongous pieces of concrete, okay, that are gone from state trucks plowing. And so now this gives me, a little direction as to where I can go to get the necessary repairs done.
yeah, unfortunately, the state's not going to help out very much. And then the real unfortunate part is it's double or triple the cost just to work in that road. The police alone are probably going to throw on another 30%, just because you'll need 2 or 3 police officers. You're going to have to shut down the lane. And it just depends on how much of the sidewalk we're doing. And this goes for Derby Avenue, this goes for Maple, 67, anywhere. So I think in the past it's probably been avoided. But we're gonna try and see if we can talk to the state and see what can be done to start working this into the list of things that need to be done. I was going to talk to Deidre about whether or not some of these might be able to be used or able to be paid for through LoCIP, at least small portions, but I'm not sure if it would qualify. In the future, down the line, and maybe getting off subject, but it's definitely related. We do have the connectivity grant that we're going to be finishing Woodside. Once we have that done, if that program opens up again, then we might be able to use those grant funds to start tackling some of the state roads, because at least the state will be paying for most of it.
Rob Van Egan.
Hi, Rob here. Yeah, 2 things. One, if you could at some point get us a list of the sidewalks that you've identified that have the most work, in case anybody comes to us complaining about theirs. To Tricia's point, the only financial thing that I've seen dealt with sidewalks was actually one that I had to do myself, where I fixed my own, and then I don't know if 6 months or 9 months later, you guys came through and redid the entire street. So a citizen who does their own can get a 1/3 reimbursement from the town. And in that case, I actually ended up getting a full reimbursement, since it was so close in time. Then the other thing I just want to ask, the list that you put together, and we kind of danced around this, but I just wanted to be clear. The size of the list that you have is based on what you think can be most likely done within this year. If things were to go much quicker and under budget, those 2 wonderful things that always happen on projects, do you see the possibility for adding more roads? And would you have that kind of B list ready so that it's a lot easier if things are looking really good, let's say October of this year, to be able to add on more sections? Or is that something that you would just do this is going to be it, and then next year would be another phase?
No, we already have a B list. We have a B list, C list, D list. So it really depends on the contractor. I think once I'm able to pin him down onto a schedule, I'll get a better idea of how much he can accomplish. And if he can accomplish more, we'll tackle right into it. But the other thing, what I don't like to do is get too far ahead, because the bills trickle down and I don't want to go over budget. That's a very, very important thing for me. So, so that's why spreading this out and having $1 million, I mean, I'd never get close to $1 million, but I certainly like to really slow down at the end to make sure that we don't run out of money.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this is the Selectman Van Egan, just didn't reply. We've had past years where we got to the end of the year or close to the end of the year where he was complete, and there was another list of roads that we looked at in past years. So that's kind of the process that we've seen. And he already has the list already built. So we already had like a few other streets that we could add at the end of the year. That happened a couple of years ago, if I remember right.
Yeah, I mean, this, I don't know if you guys can still see this, but this is the running list. And this is in the roadway report. But this has to be updated because there's a handful of, like, the community center, I think, is out. There's lovely Clinton that everybody wants to talk about. But there's plenty of work that needs to be done out there. So
Brian, can you take this list and update it and then send it out to the board so that we can take a look at it, and come our second meeting in February, we can
I will make sure I get all this right. So I'm gonna send over the sidewalk list. I'm
Mhm.
gonna send over this list that's from the roadway report, and I'm also gonna send over this list. Is there anything else you guys want?
But Brian, you're gonna update the other list, correct? Right, okay. Thank
Is
you.
that good, Chris?
Excuse me for a moment.
Yeah.
Are you guys good with that? I think that gives us some time to look at it and go from there.
Sure.
That's sufficient. It also gives me some time to go around and take some pictures.
Mhm. Okay, great. Now, any more questions for Brian? Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you all.
Can
Thanks,
I have
Brian.
a motion to go out of order and move item number 9 up to item number 7, please?
So moved.
So move.
Moved by Trish, second by Bob Finley. Thank you. Item number 9 is discussion to take possible action regarding the skate park graffiti. I don't know if you guys saw on the first Selectmen's page in town, I had gone out when we had set up the community center for the shots for COVID. I had gone over there and I saw some trash on the ground as well as some graffiti on the skate park. I'd posted some picture of that. And when I was there was those 2 young gentlemen that I was speaking to you with. One of them is Jack Vale Kavanaugh, and he is on with us tonight. And I will let Jack explain as to how he feels about seeing the trash and seeing the graffiti at the park. So that kind of led to Victoria Soltis inboxing me and Facebooking me on Facebook saying how she works with the Valley Arts Cultural, and they're at the community center, and they work with skate parks in New Haven. So I just wanted to bring this to the board to get your thoughts and opinions on it and to see where we can go from that. So Jack, where are you?
I'm here.
Hi. So can you just tell the select board, what their skate park means to you and how you feel when you see it the way, just basically what you do.
Yeah, so basically I go to the skate park. If it's a nice day, I go to the skate park about every day. I feel like it's a second home for me. It gives me something to do, like because of Corona and everything, sports were shut down. So I would go to the skate park because I wasn't able to play sports. I've been going there for about 4 to 5 years now. I used to go with my brother every day and all our friends. It gives me something to do, stay active. So about the graffiti, I just feel like it's unnecessary because it's not even the people that ride through the graffiti. It's people that just come and do it for no reason. And I just don't want that taken away from me.
Thanks. So I bring Victoria Soltis, who really wasn't her name when we met on Facebook. It was, I didn't know who I was speaking with, but it was
it's under my maiden name, I know.
It's okay. Victoria, can you tell us about your what you do?
Yeah, so I recently started a nonprofit based out of Seymour called Valley Center for the Arts. And we're trying to do arts lessons, music lessons, that kind of thing. And when I saw the post that reached out to me, because we're trying to reach out to the youth and give them programs and things to do. In New Haven, there is a graffiti group called High Crew, and they maintain the skate park at Edgewood Park over in Westville. So basically what they do is they come in and they paint it like graffiti style. So it fits with the sort of, the style of a skate park, but they're willing to maintain it basically for free. If you give them some leeway in terms of being able to write what they want to write, it will be appropriate for the skate park. But if somebody tags over it or paints something inappropriate, they would come down and fix it. When they come down, they also clean up. So they're sort of in the business of doing this, and it's called in the graffiti world, it's called a free wall. So if you gave them a little bit of artistic license to paint different pictures, and if you wanted me to share my screen, I have some examples I could show you, or I could send them an email later.
Rory, can you allow her to share her screen, please?
She should be able to.
Okay, let me, so I do have some examples. Let me pull this up. So basically the art would be fitting for a skate park, similar to what they have down in at Rampage in Bridgeport, or what they have in New Haven. This is sort of like the going, so this is what we have now, right? So
Well, then Public Works came and painted that over black again. But yeah,
right, so instead of painting it black repeatedly, you could have something like this. So there's some scenery, there's some lettering. This is generally the artwork that happens at a skate park. And I know that ours is not, this is not familiar to us in Seymour. This is different. But for skate parks in the area, this is the common style of art. And this crew, they also do things like this. So it's not just lettering, they also did different kinds of pictures. This is another example of lettering. This is another, if you can see up here, they have the woman in the mirror. So there's different kinds of artwork that they do. It would all be, these are all just from free walls that they've painted. But this is just an example of their work. I don't need to keep sharing, but those are just some examples. So they would want that sort of artistic license, but because they're a well-known group in the area, kids are less likely to paint those black and like those white tags. Like they're less likely to go over it with the stuff that doesn't look as nice, and you can leave it sort of as art. And as far as maintaining it, our nonprofit would be willing to oversee it. So we would be willing to, if somebody made a complaint, you could reach out to us, we will reach out to them and hold them accountable and make sure it gets done. So we would be willing to sort of take that role on, to take the, take the weight off of the town in terms of having to constantly paint it and maintain it. And if there's kids down there skating, and I don't know, maybe Jack can weigh in on this, if there was kids down there and they saw some guys out there cleaning up and painting and doing graffiti, but in a responsible, legal way, I feel like that would provide role models for some of the younger kids in town, so that they're not just thinking graffiti is this illegal thing that's not. Yeah, Jack, you were saying?
Yeah, so like, also like the graffiti that like isn't illegal, I mean that is illegal. There's also like little kids that come here and like obviously they don't want to see, like, because people write inappropriate stuff and like and see that stuff, and if parents see it, they're not going to want their kids going there, and that will stop like younger kids from wanting to go to the skate park. That's also a problem I've heard.
Very good points, Jack, and it's great to see that you're looking out for the younger generations in this town. So
yeah, of course, I always the little kids at the skate park with like progression and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I spoke to some other people in their early 20s who grew up in town and who were like in 7th grade when the petition started for the skate park. And a lot of people were really involved in wanting it to happen and felt like it was a positive. We all know that our funding in schools gets cut for the arts, pretty quickly. It happens. I talked to another friend that they cut some of the theater program when she was in high school. So, I mean, the nonprofit that I'm starting is, we're really trying to provide some of these programs where education can't. And I'm an educator as well. I teach in Bridgeport, and I'm seeing that there's sort of a lack of outlets for some of the kids who have more artistic inclinations, let's say. So I'm hoping that, we can work together, like I said, we'd be willing to take responsibility for this and adopt it like you adopt the side of the road. We'd be willing to do that. And we are looking forward to working with the town in the future because I think our youth does need more outlets than what we have to offer right now.
I agree with that. Is there any questions, comments from the board?
Just one question. Is there a Seymour group that does it? This group's out in New Haven. Are any kids from the Seymour area or just?
Okay, I love this question. I do. I have not found a group who has maintained the responsibility of what we're asking in this area.
Okay.
So my idea moving forward would be to try to put up some sort of wall, and we could even try to sponsor it or fundraise for it so it wouldn't cost the town money, but to put up some sort of wall, and we could schedule people to come in and give people access to paint so that it gives the youth ownership over the space without having the illegal graffiti or inappropriate graffiti.
Thank you. Thank you, Victoria.
Cal?
I think it's a great idea. I'm all for it. Anything looks better than the black and then the graffiti and then painting it over black again. Let's get, the kids love the park. There are a lot of kids that use it. They love it. There's always a couple of kids that are going to be, pains about it and do this kind of stuff, but that doesn't mean the whole is doing it. So I don't want to punish them. I'm all for having the artists come out, the high crew come out, having Miss Soltis kind of oversee and make sure be our liaison with them. And if they're going to do it gratis, thank you very much to them, and they can express themselves as artists, and I'm all for it.
Selectman Bowen? Oh, sorry.
Yes, first off, I just want to say this is an absolutely fantastic idea, and I want to thank both of you, especially you, Jack, for taking some leadership on this and coming before our board. I do have one question for Jack. What would be the process if somebody did, and forgive an old man for Googling up terms, if somebody were to come along and overwrite one of your pieces or tag your piece, what's the process for fixing that? I'm afraid of trolls coming in and messing things up.
Yeah, that was like one of the factors I was thinking about, because like if these artists come in and do like an amazing job, and I know there's going to be people out there that are going to want to ruin it, and that's what's going to suck. And I don't know, I just hope it doesn't happen. I don't really know what to do, but
That would be
we do actually have a process for that. So I spoke with one of the members of High Crew, and basically if they hadn't already been down there to go over everything to freshen things up, if they needed to repaint, if there was any kind of complaint, we would contact them and they would send someone down to go over it as soon as possible, weather permitting and all that, but they would send someone down as soon as they were able. So there wouldn't be, if somebody drew a body part, for instance, I teach 6th grade, somebody drew something inappropriate, they would come down and make sure it was taken care of. And like I said, I have direct contact with them, so it shouldn't be a problem.
What about
also another thing I wanted to say is like, whenever I see someone like drawing or like taking pictures, I always go right up to them, because like I don't want other people ruining it for us, because that would just suck. So I always have something to say.
That's awesome. And I bet High Crew would love to hear from you too.
Yeah.
Selectman Lombardi?
Yeah. Very, very admirable and something much needed. So my hat's off to you and Jack. My question is it just related to skate parks, or would it be buildings or walls? Or for instance, we have a building up at one of our fields, and if somebody did some graffiti up there, would that be something that would fall into your realm?
If there were anything that was being illegally tagged with graffiti, that's not what you want. You absolutely could offer it as what you call a free wall, and they would come up and paint it, and it would be the same thing, that you could give them the artistic license to go over it and maintain it. The other option is through the nonprofit. rather than just having this graffiti crew maintain it, is that as adopting it, we would be willing to have other people come, you know, people who are either professional artists who paint with spray paint, or through our lessons, have our students come and take a turn at it. The only thing, speaking with High Crew, is to have people not paint over it. They would sort of need to know it belongs to someone. So if it wasn't High Crew, we would just need to put up something saying like sponsored by Valley Center for the Arts. And then people would understand that, like, maybe it's not like the most beautiful graffiti style art you've seen, but that it belongs to someone, it's a student project. And again, they'd be less likely to paint over it. And then you'd have a revolving sort of like an outdoor art gallery, if you will. It would be revolving because you'd have people keep coming in to change it.
Well, I think it's a great initiative, and I want to thank you both. And I guess my last question, and that question would be to town council as far as our liabilities with something like this.
Well, as I've said in other contexts, there's always potential liability attendant to any activity of any kind. But I would think painting a wall is on the low end of the spectrum. So I would think that, for example, this is probably the exact opposite from the bike trail that we discussed, if you recall. You have that on the one hand, you know, that was pretty dangerous. And on the other hand, you have people painting a wall. So I think we'll be fine. If, I mean, I could imagine, look, it's your space, it's town space. If for whatever reason it's not working out, or it's being utilized in some inappropriate manner, not by this worthy group, but somehow it becomes an issue of sorts, we can deal with it then. You know, the other thing my father taught me a long time ago is you can paint over something.
Okay, Rich, thank you. Victoria and Jack, thank you. Nice presentation.
Thank you so much for your time.
Talk.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Victoria, so much. Thank you, Jack, for speaking up to me that day in the park. It opened up a bright wall for that skate park.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Yep. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you, Victoria, so much. I'll have Rory and I will contact your office tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. On to item number 7, discussion with the parade committee. Alex Denka. Look at that baby, Van Egan. He's more handsome on, didn't you?
I just want to note for the record that as soon as Jack came into the picture, Emery went, mouth, baby, silently. And Al climbed closer to the camera, just kind of go coochie coo. So Jack Van Egan has definitely already made his impact.
That little dude.
Alexander.
I love the sport.
Oh, look at you. Oh,
Look at him. Love him already.
what a
Trish, is
handsome
Alex
guy.
around? We have discussion, intake possible. No, we don't. We have discussion with the parade committee.
Trish is
Alex
going to get
Danka.
him. Trish is going to get him.
Okay, in the meantime, we can just look at baby Van Egan.
Anne Marie, I don't know if it would be appropriate. You may want to add, I know we had a response from DOT on the TIG.
I'm gonna add
TIG.
that to the agenda.
Okay, yeah.
Look at him. He's so handsome, Van Egan. He was so-
I'm hurting that baby's eyes.
Oh my goodness.
They're closed.
I half expected Trisha to bring him in by his ear.
Yeah.
I'm in my pajamas. I'm sorry.
Hey, parade committee, Alex Danka.
What she said. Oh, congratulations, Rob. Alexander. All right.
Not really named.
I can't hear a thing, Tricia. Where's the volume?
Where's the volume?
All right, so
You
what?
don't need to touch my computer, just talk.
Okay, so parade committee, the reason why we want to switch the name is because there's a few more people who like to get on the committee. And we like to start diversifying a little bit better to have different events. So we like to, have, like this year we did the Christmas lights. We're gonna try to do haunted lawns and, and build this group up a little bit better with a different group. But some people just want to do the Memorial Day. Some people just want to do the Christmas parade. Some just want to do the Christmas lights now. So we'll have a chair, like they said, and we'll have these what do you call them? Co-chairs?
Committees?
Committee, like chairs to, on each event. So we just want to be able to broaden that way we can do more fundraising to help with the events.
All right, what do you want to name it?
Seymour's parade / events. Events committee.
Yeah, I think you just want to keep it as the events committee, and parades will roll up into that.
Okay. That's fine.
From a process standpoint, Emery, what did we have to do to change that? I was just curious from a process standpoint.
From a process standpoint, I'm going to turn it over to our town attorney, Rich, to tell us.
I don't believe. Do we have to write something about the?
I think it's just a committee. I don't think it's in our, it's not.
Yeah,
our-
Emery, that's where I was going. It's not, this is not a charter.
It's not covered by charter ordinance.
Or
I mean, we
ordinance.
don't have an arbitrary
That's my
five-person.
recollection. So I would think you have an item on the agenda, discussion with parade committee. I think that's broad enough for FOI purposes. The subject is on the agenda. I think it would be in order for somebody to make a motion to rename the committee to Seymour Events Committee. Take a second and vote on it.
So moved.
A motion by Patrick, second by Rob Van Egan.
Just, I have one quick question. I'm sorry. I asked this a couple minutes ago. I don't know if I got an answer. This wouldn't be, because it's not a chartered commission, that means we don't have the 5-person limit that we have for other committees, correct?
Correct.
Perfect.
You are correct, sir.
I have a motion.
I don't know if you got a second, Madam First Selectwoman.
I
I know
did. It was Pat Lombardi,
Rob.
Van Egan seconded it.
There you go.
Rob Van Egan.
We do have a limit though. They had,
We have a limit, but it's not set by charter.
oh, okay,
That's what
good.
I'm saying.
Right.
If it's not
Any
set by
discussion?
charter, if it's set by charter or by ordinance, okay, I do not believe, okay, there's a restriction on a maximum.
Correct.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Any discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Nay. Motion carries to change the name of the Seymour Parade Committee to Seymour Events Committee.
Thank you.
You're all set, Alex.
I don't want to stand up now. Good.
Item number 8, discussion to take possible action regarding 128 West Street bid.
Here.
Just let you know, under discussion, this will cover all back taxes that are due to the town. So in your packet, we have the bid list came in with who bidded and the amount. I need a motion to accept.
So move.
So move for what? Second for what?
What is the motion?
Motion to accept the bid.
To
Thank
accept, to go over the bids and to discuss. I need a motion to accept the bids that came in.
Thank you.
I was getting there. I just didn't get the rest of my sentence out. Motion by Trish, second by Al.
Yep.
Discussion on the bids. There are 5 bids. The highest bid was bid number 2. We can say their names, correct, Rich?
Yes.
Okay. From Gregory Chernak, that was a $51,626. All of these people gave in their deposit checks. The bid that we take will cash. The checks that we do not award, we will send the checks back to the owner. So if you want to take a moment and look at who did the bidding and how much it was, we need then to accept one bid and vote on it. Chris,
Is there a reason why we wouldn't take the high bid here?
there is no reason, but I just can't make that decision on my own. We have to make that as a team. Rob Van Egan?
If I may, the sale of municipal property is controlled by the Board of Selectmen under the charter. So the first select woman is absolutely correct.
Rob Van Egan?
I was gonna say also, one of us might know one reason why one person or another wouldn't be good, you know, if you recognize a name that had a history of bad deals. So just, it's not always just the number.
Where's Alexander? He needs to be part of this discussion.
Well, to me, I think the most important thing is whether you go with the low, the middle, or the high. The bottom line to this whole thing is that, you know, we have a piece of property that was foreclosed upon. Okay, we have 5 bids in front of us, and the bottom line to is whoever we award the bid to, this piece of property now goes back on the tax rolls. Okay, to me, that's the most important thing. That house, I just need to tell you, driven by it a million times. I used to live on that street. It's a fireman's nightmare waiting to happen. So glad to see that, you know, the town has moved forward to accept 5 bids.
Any suggestions?
If I may, Madam First Select Woman, I think it would be in order for someone to make a motion to award the bid to Mr. Chernak, who is the high bidder on this particular piece of property.
In the amount of $51,626.
And to authorize the First Select Woman to execute any and all documents that are necessary in order to effectuate the transaction.
Thank you, Attorney Richula.
Oh.
Trish?
So move.
Second by Trish, first by Trish, second by Bob Finley. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain. Motion moves forward 7-0. Rory? We will notify Greg Chernak that the bid was awarded to him, and then we will return the remaining 4 checks.
Yep, I'll work with Tony and Rich to finish this.
Yes. Thank you, Rory.
Thank you, Rory. Okay, we did the skate park. Item number 10, discussion and take possible action on the emergency declaration to local and civil preparedness. Rich, do we need to add this?
Well, you actually have it on the agenda. So I would think a motion to authorize you as the First Select Woman to issue the emergency declaration of local civil preparedness.
Right. To keep in parity with the state, I would
Yes.
like to extend the emergency declaration in case we are needed to write out POs in case the COVID takes a downfall. I say down turn, meaning it gets worse, not up being better. Just to keep the declaration in place as with the governors, to keep in line with them. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Chris, second by Bob Finley. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, guys. Okay. On I'd like to entertain a motion to add to the agenda, Tignu Dam easement update.
So moved.
Motion by Pat, second by Chris. Discussion. So, Rich,
Yes, I'm happy to report. If you will recall, although Brian Leclerc covered it for me at the last meeting, there was a discussion with respect to the repairs of the Tignu Dam. The state was looking for a temporary construction easement, and we thought there was a flaw in their document in that there was no end date for the hard end date for the easement. So we went back and proposed 180 days after the commencement of the work. They came back to us yesterday and proposed that the temporary construction easement terminate on December 31, 2021, giving us a hard date. They think that's a date that will give them plenty of time to finish the work, and that was a concern to the board. And we, frankly, on construction easements such as this, like a definite date if we can get it. And the fact that the state compromised is something you never know. You never know what you're going to get back in terms of the state DOT on their construction documents. So all in all, we would recommend approving the temporary construction easement and authorizing the first Selectwoman to enter into it with the modification that there's a termination date on December 31, 2021.
So moved.
motion by Rob, second by Trish. Discussion.
What happened to 180 days?
We knew that it wasn't going to be 100.
No, I know that.
Now you have a hard date, Pat.
What's that?
You now have a hard date by which they have to complete the work. So
When is the work going to start as the date of easement?
well, the state said they'd like to start as soon as possible, and that's why they're pushing to get the easement. I imagine there are winter conditions that would keep the work from beginning.
All right, so if we had signed, if they had gotten their easement, say 2 weeks ago, their 180 days would have started 2 weeks ago, and they can't do, it's impossible to do any work right now with
Yeah,
2 feet of snow and another 2 feet coming on Sunday.
exactly.
So the 180 days would not last.
No, and they'd be back in and we'd be modifying it. So
Yeah.
I think this is a good result.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain? No, nays, abstains. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Great. Appointments. On your appointment list, you see that we have 3 appointments. We're not going to approve Stefan for the WPCA because we're going to do the WPCA in our second meeting in February with the full board. We're going to appoint the full WPCA together as opposed to appointing Stefan now and then another member in 2 weeks. So we're just going to do that whole board together. So it's one board.
Makes sense.
Okay. So on the appointments, Jessica Nunez for the Board of Finance alternate. I guess her term is the remaining of the term. It would expire. Rory, there's no date on here. It would expire December.
Yeah, it'll be the first Monday in December
Yeah. So we need to put a date on that.
is the 6th.
Okay.
So moved.
Motion by Pat, second by Bruno. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Chair votes aye. Motion carries 7-0. Daniel Staffieri, Parade. Nope. Events, Seymour Event Committee. No longer Parade Committee. It's Seymour Event Committee. It's a reappointment for 2 years. expires on February 19th, 2023. Motion by Finley, second by Chris Bowen. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, chair votes aye, motion carries 7-0. Again, we will do Stefan and WPCA in the full board at our second meeting in February. Thank you, guys. In front of you have the list of tax refunds and abatements. Can you please look at them? Make sure there are no issues. What's that? Can I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Motion by Trish, second by Bob Finley. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? All in favor? Chair votes aye, 7-0. Okay, there are no transfers. Yep. God. Correspondence in your package. There is and Rich will stop me if I have to. There's a letter from our resident Jamie Brennan regarding the tax assessor and the farm declassification I had a conversation with Deb Cooper. He sent me a letter stating that I was not correct in what I told Deb Cooper. I just referred back to what I was told by the assessor. This board has no say in this. We cannot vote on this. We cannot help him with this. He has to go in front of the Board of Tax Appeals. That is the only way this can change. We go through this every 5 years when we do the assessment. And every 5 years, the tax assessor says, you're not a farm. He declassifies him. And then he goes in front of the Board of Tax Appeals. And the tax appeals tell him, okay, but the next time you have to follow whatever the assessor says. He's written a letter to Selectman Bowman and Selectman Van Egan as well. Deb Cooper wrote a letter to me. I believe that is in here as well. There's nothing this board can do. He's upset because I didn't put him on the agenda. But again, there's nothing we can do. The tax assessor has to follow the rules and reports to the Connecticut state. He reports to us from personnel matter, but he's controlled by the state. Am I saying that correctly, Rich?
So, yes, generally, yes. The tax assessor derives his authority from state statute, and he has to file reports with the state. That is correct. And as you know, the grand list gets reported. This board has absolutely no jurisdiction on matters such as this. The tax assessor has to use his or her judgment, looking at the state statute that controls farm classification. There are a number of factors. It's wholly within the province of the tax assessor. Tax assessor uses, in this case, his judgment, rules as he believes the facts and the law dictate. And then the taxpayer has the right to take an appeal to the Board of Assessment Appeals. And if the taxpayer is aggrieved by the decision in that they don't side with him, which can happen, happens often, the taxpayer has the right under Connecticut general statutes to file a tax appeal in the Connecticut Superior Court, and the matter is dealt with then. And we've had a number of tax appeals that get filed usually after a reval. There are always many of them filed. So this is not that all that unusual, this sort of process and this pull and tug between an assessor and a taxpayer. And I'm sure between the Board of Assessment Appeals and the Connecticut judicial system, the matter will be put to rest eventually. But this board has no jurisdiction over this matter.
Rob?
And when is the Board of Appeals meeting next? Is that in March?
He has,
I,
to-
bu- yeah, I think the applications, I think, are available starting now, I believe.
yes, February
Yeah.
1st.
This
Yep.
week. So, when the spate of correspondence occurred, Attorney Leclerc and I looked into this a bit. And I would say that a letter from the assessor went to the taxpayer back, I believe, in late November, and detailing exactly when the applications would be available for the Board of Assessment Appeals. So the taxpayer has been notified.
Okay. On to public comment. Roy, did any public comment come in?
I have received none.
Selectmen public comment. I will go as you are on my screen. Tricia Danka.
Hi.
Hi.
I know it's not under our purview, but just as a selectman and being able to help answer any questions, I was out this week and there were some individuals, one in town, a few in surrounding towns together. And I didn't really know what to say. And I was kind of stuck in a room. They weren't looking to me for answers, thank goodness, but it did get me thinking. I guess the surrounding towns have schools somewhat open, and I don't really know what the stance is with our superintendent or the Board of Education on why we're remaining closed. I was just listening to the back and forth, which is not important other than even the other, some of the people from the other communities egging on, which is a poor term, but agreeing with the residents here about us not opening. So I think I would just like to have, not expecting anything tonight, but I'd like an understanding on what our plan is during the pandemic, and is it, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Nope, I mean, that's pretty much where I'm going. I felt a little caught off guard and was very thankful at that moment that nobody knew who I was, because I did not want to be asked any questions. I didn't know, because I had no answers, which would have been a fair answer, but I don't think sounds very smart coming from, sitting on the Board of Selectmen and not having any update on the Board of Ed's or the superintendent's plans with schools. So I would just like to be kept in the loop and understand what we're doing. That's really all I have at the moment.
Okay. Pat Lombardi. I'm skipping right over me. Pat Lombardi.
First of all, I'd just like to echo your initial comments regarding our public works, our EMS, our police department, and our fire department. So I'd just like to, echo those comments that you made, and thank those individuals. I belong to one of those organizations, and I know your thanks are appreciated. I read an article here in the Patch about 7 days ago regarding one of our businesses that is going to be closed temporarily for about a year. The young lady that I believe her name is Alyssa Mateo or Diamato, and if I'm saying it wrong, my apologies. But she operates that famous bakery and cupcake place on the corner. Well, she's a member of the Connecticut National Guard and has been deployed and will be deployed for the next year. And I just want to say that this obviously will be a tremendous loss for downtown, and personally to Alyssa, as a former guardsman, a staff sergeant, 8 years, we certainly wish you well in your endeavors overseas, and Godspeed, and we hope to get you back soon. Rob, my next comment is to you. Welcome to parenting, and hope Alex and Mom are doing well. Thank you.
He didn't wave in his hands. Sorry. I'll give you a 16-year-old for the baby. Bob Finley.
I reinforced the Public Works doing a great job with snow, last couple of days. That's been very, very good. I did want to, we have been talking about locking the doors in the cars. We did have an issue at Henny Penny of somebody very close to me was actually, I know the family very, very well. And that was her car. She ran into the store, she was pumping gas, I guess, and somebody went and took the car. So we have a nice quaint town, but we still have to keep our guards up and do the things that are necessary to protect ourselves. So I just want to make sure, everybody in town recognizes that you still have to lock your doors and pay attention to what's going on around you. And Rob, good luck with parenting. It's great. It's great to go through. It's great now. When they get older, it gets worse. So. All I have.
Verna.
I just want to say, echo Pat's comments and Rob's about our town services. They really did great this past storm. Had complete confidence in them, of course. They always do. Everybody, I know that our police department works hard too, our fire, our EMS. So kudos to them. Got another big storm coming up. So we'll buckle up and get ready for that. And I just hope everybody stays safe and stay warm. Help your neighbors. Shovel for folks that need assistance if you can. Did a little bit of that today. That felt good. And that's it. That's all I have to say. Good to see everybody.
Shovel your hydrants.
Yes, that was on my thing. Selectman Bowen.
I want to echo everybody else's thanks to all of our staff, Public Works, Fire, EMS, police, for really doing a wonderful job in this storm and really over this whole period of time where they pulled double duty in not only helping the town, but keeping morale up during the pandemic. I said that before, but they've really come out for this community. Congratulations to Rob and Audra on the birth of Alexander Robert Van Egan, who we see in the picture there. I will note that everybody in this chat went gaga when he came into the video. And to Alyssa DiMatteo, I was Navy, I wasn't National Guard, but may you be safe. Come back safe and support veterans, and to everybody else, support veterans groups that provide services to everybody that's come home from abroad. Thank you.
Thank you. Alexander Van Egan, Selectman Rob Van Egan.
Thank you all for your well wishes. It's been a whirlwind 2 weeks, and it's only going to continue such. It is nice to know that we're raising them in a wonderful town with wonderful people. From when the first snowflake hit, I heard nothing but trucks back and forth and back and forth. So it's been wonderful. Be ever vigilant with the cars, as Bob said, and look out for each other. And I'm very, very excited to have this guy to start showing around. So thank you all very much.
You're welcome. Trish, to answer you onto the Board of Ed, if I can, I'm sure Attorney Richard will stop me. The Board of Ed, as far as I know, has gone back to hybrid learning, correct, Bruno? Yeah, hybrid learning.
So, yeah.
Right, thanks. And Bruno may chop in because, his wife's on the Board of Ed. So the Board of Selectmen, as crazy as this sound, even though we're one of the highest boards, we do not have any say over the Board of Ed. And
I just want to be in the loop. That's all.
Yeah. And as much as you're in the loop is as much as you know is pretty much as much as I know, I don't know why they didn't go back to school sooner. I know there was a big thing on Facebook about, parents wanting their kids to go back, parents not wanting their kids to go back. So it's for every parent that wants their kid to go, parents don't want their kids to go. I don't know why the superintendent did what he did. Bruno, if you want to chime in.
I'm just saying that there was a debate, and if you want to be in the know, I believe that the public can listen in to Board of Ed meetings, and that's the only way, or read the minutes. I think, Trish, that I know that we're all busy. It's the only way to really stay up on everything. And, it's what I do too. I don't just, because Kristen doesn't tell me much, she tells me what she can, but I have to read the minutes too.
I know the Board of Ed is going, but they're hybrid learning, and I think they're going back. The plan was for them to go back full-time sometime in February. I don't know if that's taken place. I don't know when they'll be back fully into school. As soon as I hear something, I will let the Board of Selectmen know to keep you guys in the loop so that we can answer our constituents, the residents, the taxpayers, and the kids. We can answer them, because apparently, the questions, if they're not being either asked to the right people or they're not being answered in the right way. So Trish, I will make sure all our board members are up to date as to what is going on, if that helps you. Bruno?
Yeah, just one more thing. If Trish cannot access information, maybe that's an issue with Board of Ed leadership not publishing that, the chair of the Board of Ed and the vice chair, or information being disseminated from the superintendent's office at central office. I mean, this may speak to a different issue of just communication. To Trish's point, we should all have an idea of what's going on in that board in town as select people, just like the Board of Ed should know what's going on with our board. So maybe it's just an issue of communication. Maybe that needs to get a little stronger, perhaps. Just throwing that out there.
Good one.
To your point, Al, rather hear it formally from the Board of Education than hearsay, because when it's hearsay, we all know what happens. It instills anxiety and panic, and it's like he stole first base, but by the time it gets to the next person, the person is completed and they hit a home run. So excellent point.
I also want to say that I've spent hours on the phone with Chairman Stramello discussing these issues, and he set me straight on a lot of these. Furthermore, all of the meetings are on YouTube. I actually have one up on my other monitor now as I speak from yesterday. So I think the problem is more the game of telephone that Mr. Lombardi specifies than any top-down leadership problem in that regard. I have to respectfully disagree with that connotation there.
Well, Chris, just to be straight, I know that I can attend the meetings and make the phone calls, but I've been working 12-hour days since last March. So I sometimes struggle getting onto a Board of Selectmen meeting. So in all due respect, I cannot also attend a Board of Education meeting. And I do look for the minutes. I have attended portions.
Right. And I think the chair should also be speaking to the first Selectwoman as well, and keeping her informed so she can keep her board informed. Just saying. And with that, I will ask for an motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion by Chris Bowen, second by Bob Finley. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Good night, everybody.
Good night.